Global Debt Registry is the DMV for consumer debt. Over the past 10 years, $1 trillion of US consumer debt has been charged off. Non-mortgage debt in areas like credit cards, student loans, increasingly medical debt, and so on. Much of that debt is sold into the opaque debt buying industry. That debt market remains one of the last remaining financial asset classes not to record, track, clear transactions in any systematic way. Stocks, bonds, commodities, patents, ships, you name it, all have some sort of tracking utility to record change in ownership. Not surprisingly, the debt market now finds itself in a little bit of a mess and is the center of attention for multiple regulators, the OCC, the FTC, the CFPB, as well as state attorney generals. Global Debt Registry provides the industry with a secure, a scalable platform to manage charged-off accounts, whether you're the original creditor, the subsequent debt buyer, collection agency, or the consumer. We have 4 large banks and almost 50 debt buyers who've registered accounts on our platform to date. Here, we're logged into our client application as a fictitious bank who's charged off 125,000 accounts up in the top corner, but no longer own any of those. They've registered those accounts, but have sold them in 3 portfolios down in the bottom right. 3 sales, all to the same one debt buyer, 123 Capital. They've done extensive due diligence against 123 Capital to really understand what their risks are and how their accounts are actually being handled. They believe they know exactly what the risks are, but do they? So those 3 transactions to the same debt buyer rapidly results in those accounts being distributed across 44 different debt buyers in the market and potentially hundreds of different collection agencies collecting on those debts on behalf of or quoting the original creditor. This industry has historically managed itself virtually entirely offline through the sharing of spreadsheets, sending around a lot of customer information, millions of accounts of customer information for quotations, with relatively limited use of technology, limited data standards, and relatively limited regulation until now. Most of the complaints coming into the regulators all point back to data integrity. Consumers complain that they're not given enough data to validate the debt, or the debt's for the wrong amount, or I'm not the person who owes the debt, it's somebody different, etc. With all that's going on, not surprisingly, the OCC have recently put out rules in terms of the data integrity associated with selling and placing debt, and the CFPB have also announced proposed rules that we're anticipating in the first half of next year. Our application enables the original creditors to keep track of their accounts wherever they go, wherever they're sold into the market or placed into the market. We ensure compliance in terms of supporting documentation, so ensuring that there are supporting account statements or the original contract associated with with that account is flowing with the account wherever it is sold or placed into the market. Improved data integrity also has a significant impact on the actual value of the debt, the value whether it's sold into the market or whether it's simply placed for collection. The more supporting data and the quality of that data, the more collectible it is. We now find state courts and attorney generals insisting on account-level proof of legal ownership to support claims that are going to court when collectors are trying to sue the debtor. Our clients are able to access legal documentation. So here we're looking at an account title report, very much like your car title, which will articulate the chain of ownership and the history of that account. And we market these along with all the way up to full legal affidavits should the debt owner or collection agency be taking the debtor to court. Another key part of the regulatory focus is consumer transparency. So on that note, I'll hand over to my colleague, Todd Veal.
Thank you. The reason that the CFPB and others have the debt collection industry in their crosshairs is a couple of important things which contribute to our launched today of debt lookup. One is the size of the market. A recent report indicates there are 77 million consumers with accounts in collection at the credit bureaus. Many of those accounts the consumer is not aware of. In many cases, in most cases, they've never heard of the company that owns the debt or collects the debt. And that's for accounts that are actually reported to the credit bureau, including the fact that many accounts that are being collected have fallen off of the credit bureau. The second problem is access to data. So our site, Debt Lookup, is the first site available for the charged-off account holder to be able to independently validate information. The challenge that the consumer has today is if you've charged off an account, you've lost access to online banking and other sources. If the account has been sold, you have even less access to information from the original creditor. When you go to Debt Lookup, you can find core information that's fundamental to understanding the call that you've just received or the letter you've just received, from is this me, is this my account? And when you go to the ownership history, you can find out if the company contacting you actually has a legitimate claim. And importantly, you have information including account statements and our account title report, which we showed you before. It can include other documents such as or audio files or other kinds of documents from the collector. The way we monetize our program is the debt collectors and debt owners pay us a fee for the documents. The banks and original creditors pay us a small fee per month per account to maintain the account, including an extinguishment report, which is also unprecedented in the industry, where we have a permanent record of the account being closed to prevent problems with things like phantom debt and zombie debt and other problems in the industry. So in summary, we're working in a $1 trillion industry in need of a fix, and we're the solution.